Okay, today we were playing a game on VoD. We were in the Platinum SR range, and we were playing about half the game as Roadhog and about half the game as Pharah. There's also a little bit of Reaper and McCree at the very end, but not very much. Not enough that I felt the need to include them, as in total it probably is less than a minute and a half. Anyway, Pharah and Roadhog's a pretty unusual combination of heroes, isn't it? It's not very often we see Pharah games in general. We've probably seen, like, less than 10 out of, like, all 400 videos. Or thereabouts, anyway. So, it's and then the other hero is Roadhog in that game. It's just an odd combo of heroes. Anyway, current team composition is Reinhardt, Roadhog, Soldier 76, Junkrat, Ana, and Mercy. Reasons to be sad: no Hanzo, no Zenyatta, no Zarya. All very sad. I will also point out that having two main healers is awkward, just because if you have two main healers, that means you don't have a defensive ultimate. The best defensive ultimate any of the main healers have is Coalescence, and that's nowhere near as good as Sound Barrier or Transcendence. And the off healers make it easier to kill people, because, you know, Zenyatta, Discord, plus he does damage. Speed boost on Lucio, plus Lucio gets to do damage. And then Bridget is Bridget. So all of those off healers make it easier to kill people. None of the main healers really make it easier to kill people. So if you have two main healers, that tends to just mean that, like, you're gonna do less damage overall. Not necessarily by a drastic amount, but your team does do less damage when you have two main healers. So that's kind of worth pointing out as well. Regardless, not much else to say about it. Let's start the game. So we have to defend VoD first. We are in a 5-stack. I guess that's worth pointing out as well. So we have to defend VoD, which is not a very fun experience. It's better than attacking VoD, but sadly we'll have to do that soon as well. So we see Sombra running across the choke point right now. That's of pivotal interest to us as Roadhog, because as a hero with hard crowd control, we are one of the few people that can actually kill Sombra, because most people she just translocates away from. We can actually hold her there and finish her off, so we need to make a note of that and try to kill her. So we get hooked right here, and most people would just start taking a breather immediately. We actually wait to finish the reload, and then cancel it with the take a breather. And that's actually really smart, because we're actually really unlikely to die from this hook, because we're getting hooked in at full health, and let's remember, not everybody's in this hallway to begin with, and their two DPS are Sombra and Pharah, so we're not actually in much danger of dying right here, especially since other people are nearby. So we can instead just take the time to cancel the reload rather than taking a breather and then having to reload afterwards, which allows us to do this. Small efficiencies matter sometimes, because if we did just immediately take a breather and then have to reload afterwards, we wouldn't have been able to get that kill right there. So, how about that? Efficiency pays off sometimes. This was a very optimistic hook, because Reinhardt actually has his shield up at right now. Come on, YouTube, you can do it. Reinhardt has his shield up right now. Sombra is kind of jumping around in front of the shield, but I've gone back way too far. Yeah, Sombra's kind of running around in front of it, but that's still very optimistic. And Roadhog's only like 25% of a hero when his hook's on cooldown, so you don't want to just like throw hooks out randomly, because you want to have the common error that Roadhog players make is they throw hooks out constantly when they have a low chance of actually connecting or of actually converting into anything after you hit them. And that's bad, because then you're just playing like a quarter of a hero most of the time. If you're gonna throw the hook out, you want to be pretty certain that it's gonna hit and it's gonna actually like kill somebody if it connects. This is basically just unfortunate that this all works out like that. We just barely die to it as well, but we're gonna get res. No worries. So all works out. Reinhardt did have his shield up behind us, but I think it got broke regardless, so I don't think it would have actually helped. Was Sombra too high when she emped? No, that did actually hit people, right? Yeah, it did. It's just we were still barely invulnerable, I think. So here, Reinhardt's only hit Roadhog, so that's sad. It's not a very good Earth Shatter. We actually don't need to go in on this Roadhog right here, because this is the only guy Reinhardt hit with the Earth Shatter, which means he's the guy that's getting pinned. And we can see Soldier shooting him in his junk as well. So we don't need to go in on this dude, because he's probably going to die regardless, so we could instead go for the Mercy, who's further down the street. We did just hook, so that's sad, but we didn't need to go in on the Roadhog, because he was probably going to die without our interference. And you could argue that, like, going in on him made sure, like, with certainty he was going to die, but I'm pretty certain he was going to die regardless, so we could have gone after someone else. So this is sad right here, because this Mercy's going to get away from us. We did actually have our hook, but we didn't try to hook her. This was going to be a hard one to pull off because of the angle. It's hard to aim straight up, just in general, which is what we would have had to have done. But we could have tried to hook this Mercy. The point to try would have been right there, because that's as her GA is stopping, so she doesn't have much in the way of maneuverability anymore, and we could have tried to hook her. But we are aiming straight up, so it was going to be hard to land, because that's just an awkward angle to shoot at. We could have gone for it regardless, because they're resetting right now, so it doesn't matter if we use our hook right now and then it results in nothing, because they have to reset regardless, so we'll have it off cooldown by the time a fight starts. And if we killed Mercy right there, she would have been pretty staggered, and that would have been sick. So this is all really perplexing what we decide to do right here, right? So first off, let's go right back. So first off, we're going to cut in front of the choke point, which is bad to do in general. Like, as a tank, we're less likely to die, but, like, cutting in front of the choke point like this is just bad form as any hero. It makes it easier for you to die, and bare minimum, you're going to feed them some ult charge regardless. But then we come in here, so we're all by ourselves now. Like, we've segregated ourselves from our team, we've put ourselves into this tiny room over here. So if they collapse on us, we're dead, because we're playing Roadhog, we're not a very fast boy. And then we do this, and I just don't know why we came in here, because we didn't get pressured in here. We just decided to come in here, and then do that, and then we just leave. If the intention was to, like, try and bait someone in and kill them with whole hog, that was a bad idea, especially since they have Roadhog and Bridget on their team, so it's unlikely to actually amount to anything, you know? And it was really easy for them to interrupt us, so it's very perplexing why we did any of that, and we shouldn't have done any of that. We could have just stayed with our team, you know? So, Soldier got picked off in the fight over there, and Mercy's gonna go and try to res him. We did not need to use Take a Breather right there. When we take a breather, we're not gonna recover full health off of that, and we're not, like, in serious peril at the time. And the thing I'm more concerned about is Mercy, because she's going to go over there and try to res Soldier. She should tell you that she's going to try and res Soldier, especially since she's in your 5-man. But the point here is, if we know Mercy's going to do this, right, then we can actually save her, because the person that kills her is Sombra. Pharah gets the last hit in, but, like, Sombra did a good chunk of the damage right there, and losing Mercy early on in that team fight is bad, obviously. She's the, like, you know, a main healer. But, we would have probably died regardless, because, as you can see, they threw a lot of ultimates at that checkpoint. So, it would have probably been lost regardless, but, we could have saved Mercy right there, which might have changed the game. It certainly could have done if the fight wasn't so one-sided with all those ultimates. If we're more aware of what Mercy's doing at the time, because, like, the Soldier died pretty out of the way, she's probably going to try and res him. If we were more aware of her, we could have tried to save her, but she also, being in your pre-made, she should have said that she's going to try and res that person, and she didn't. And then we could have covered her. This is just a general thing. If you can in any way protect somebody, right, like either you have a shield or you have hard crowd control on your hero, right? If Mercy's gonna try and res somebody, try and protect that Mercy with whatever you got. If it's just, like, being scary, go and stand next to the Mercy to try and be scary and protect her. Because as soon as Mercy starts rezzing, she paints a giant target on her face. So if you can in any way try and cover for her, you should try to do so. So this is a really weird situation we get into up here, right? We come up here and, like, oh fuck, Roadhog's here. We could have interrupted him with our hook right there. It actually came off cooldown while he was taking a breather, correct? Yep, like right here, we could have interrupted to take a breather. Was it going to necessarily save us? Maybe. He does almost die. We actually built up a lot of ult charge off of one of those shots we got into him. That was a very weird situation we ended up in right there, right? Not much fighting happens on that staircase in general, but then we, like, bump into Roadhog coming from the other side of the castle up there, and then, like, he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna ult this Roadhog. So, all street phases are this way, where if you, your team gets staggered at all, it tends to be very difficult to defend the street phase. Eichenwald's street phase is actually relatively easy to defend, because it actually has, like, 2 formal choke points on it, both the bridge, the underneath the bridge, and then the actual bridge coming up to the gate, both of which can function as choke points. So you can reasonably defend this checkpoint, but like all street phases, if you get staggered awkwardly, you just don't really get a chance to defend it, because the spawn point on all of the street phases is like 1 billion miles away. So we died at an awkward time. By the time we actually get out here to mount any kind of defense, they're already right at the end of the checkpoint, and they've got a bunch of ultimates to throw at us again. Sombra built up her ult again really fucking fast, actually, for the Emp, so we just died awkwardly, and we never got to really group up and mount a defense on the street phase. Sad times. The third checkpoint, though, is, like, pretty easy to defend on Icon VoD at the same time, so it's not by any means hopeless. So what we're doing right now is basically mad greedy, and we shouldn't do it because we're pushing up right next to all 6 of the enemy team, while 3 of our team are still respawning. So we should not be this far up right now. We should be further back waiting for our team to regroup, because this can happen. And now we've died right as our team is getting back, so we've staggered ourselves as badly as we possibly could. As worsely is what I was trying to say right there. As badly as we possibly could have done. Now they're fighting 5v6. We could have prevented that by just being further back. And now we're losing more ground. We're coming back out here to start fighting in this fight, like, by halfway through. It's all very unfortunate. So I probably would have just ulted as soon as we got back out here, because I'm looking at this fight, and I'm not confident we're gonna win it. Like, Pharah gets killed, so that's cool, but I'm not at the position where everybody's really spread out right now. Push tab, just so we can, like, more often. It's just so, you know, we know what ultimates are doing. But, like, I'm not confident we're gonna win this fight. And Roadhog's ultimate is one that's just like, I don't like this fight that's happening right now, so I'm just gonna call the whole thing off and just push everybody away. We're just gonna reset, and we're gonna have a do-over. I come out and I look at that, and I'm not confident that we're gonna win that fight. It could go either way. So I'm just gonna say, fuck it, we're just gonna reset. I'm gonna try and kill somebody with the ultimate, and, like, if nothing else, though, I'm gonna make the fight reset, and we can try again. Because us coming out and joining partway through the fight, it's awkward, and it didn't look great as we were coming back. So now we're going to use our ultimate, right after Reinhardt used his ultimate, unfortunately. Bridget's right there, so she stuns us right out of it. In general, if Reinhardt's used his ultimate, Whole Hog tends to be a very bad follow-up, because it tends to push them to safety. Roadhog ult is Whole Hog is one of those ultimates you have to be scared. It's fucking, somebody is shouting real loud. Roadhog's ult is one you have to be careful when you use, because it can really easily save the enemy team. So you have to be careful when you use it. Like, Reinhardt uses Earth Shatter, you can save them. If Mei uses her ultimate, you can save them. You know, all kinds of sad times can come out of Whole Hog. So now we've entered the Pharah segment of the game. I think we're Pharah for all of the attack. We're Pharah for the majority of the attack, at the very least. I do watch these things through ahead of time, but I tend to take in very little information. Oh, we caught a glimpse of Sombra. We tried to bump her off. We did bump her off. She just translocated back up again, as we can see. Don't know where she went. There she is. She had to throw it, like, back up again to get out again. The way the translocator effect goes does actually tell you which direction she's going in. I should have been able to tell by how sharply up it was going, that she just threw it right there, but whatever. So she did die. We basically led to that happening because she had to blow her translocator saving herself, and then her whole flank was fucked up by that point. So I came out in here to get healed, but now we're continuing to go through this confined location as Pharah, and we pop out right next to them. Like, it works because nobody's looking at us, but we shouldn't really go this way, because we're playing Pharah. Walking on the ground with the common folk is not really what we want to do as Pharah. Don't just, like, push people around for the sake of it. If we push Orisa into our team, that'd be pretty good, which we might have tried to do, actually, now that I look at it. If we pushed Orisa into our team, that would have been pretty sick. Didn't happen, though. So, we are floating basically out in open space right now, which is not a great idea for Pharah in general, because if you're out in open space, it tends to be really easy to kill you. Here we're getting real low to the ground. We've not been feathering the throttle very well, and we end up sinking right down to the ground. We can jump back up again, but we're doing a lot of floating out in open space, which is not recommended. When you're playing Pharah, ooh, feels good, man. When you're playing Pharah, you gotta think about cover in the third dimension. Icon VoD is really easy, because we can just play around this clock tower the entire time if we get through the choke point. And then we ended up capturing the point really easily. Basically all off the back of Sombra dying really early, because that meant they had to fight 5v6 without any ultimates on either side. So that means we had the advantage, because we just straight up have another hero on them. And they lost one of their DPS as well, so they had very little in the way of, like, ability to fend us off at that point. But we were doing a lot of floating open space, which is not great for Pharah, because it makes it very easy for you to die. They didn't at the time have that much that was good at punishing Pharah, because they've only just gained a hit scan hero, and Sombra died, so she wasn't able to do anything to us either, but just in general, floating out in open space tends to not be a great idea. So, we just seen the kill feed that Widowmaker's died. That means we don't have to be afraid. She's just gotten rezzed over there. That means we have to be afraid again. She isn't looking at us right now, so we can come over here and sneak up on her. Tragically, we didn't kill her. Oh god, we did kill her in the end. Alright, then we jump down here to get to safety. Cool. All works out. Good awareness to jump back over here rather than hang out over there while waiting for the hack to end. They didn't have much that could kill us by that point, but regardless, even less chance of us dying if we jump down there, which is good. Yeah, Widowmaker wasn't looking at us, so that meant we could just, like, creep up on her and kill her. We didn't, kill her as cleanly as we could have done, but I mean, you know, aim better and all that, blah, 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 blah. All in all, it was pretty good. So, now, basically we just picked somebody off the entire way across this checkpoint. Oh, here comes Soldier. We saw Soldier, we killed Soldier, he just there's, like, nowhere for him to go. He's going through, like, these rat tunnels all the way up there. Real easy to shoot. Killed him before he could get into position to do anything. He shouldn't have been doing what he was doing anyway, but we punished him for it regardless. Tried to push Mercy back out of the doorway. Didn't quite succeed, but we killed her regardless, so it doesn't matter. And now we have Barrage. Basically, like, this Pharah segment's been going pretty well so far. Floating out in open space is risky. We did that early on, but, like, basically, it's been pretty fine overall. We are, you know, sometimes you get shot in the face by Hanzo. You know, we are walking on the ground, which we don't like doing as Pharah at the same time, but, you know, sometimes you just get shot in the face by Hanzo. Just happens, you know. Life is difficult sometimes like that. So, we've got Barrage, who else was their ultimate? Moira has Coalescence. No, Bridget has, we don't have a, yeah, we do have a Moira. What's wrong with me? Oh my god. This is a weird combination of healers as well. Anna should be Zenyatta. So, we've almost got Earth Shatter, and we've almost got Infrasight. We don't care about Infrasight, particularly. But we've almost got Earth Shatter, so we really want to hold Barrage until he uses Earth Shatter, because that'll just make it way easier for us to actually land Barrage. Here's, you know, it's going to be a little bit more awkward to combo Barrage and Earth Shatter, because it doesn't group them up nicely like, Graviton does, but Pharah has Concussive Blast, which is really good for getting you into position quickly. So basically what I'm thinking right now is, I don't know why we did what we did right there, but regardless, what I'm thinking right now is, I'm waiting for Reinhardt to use Earth Shatter, and then as soon as he does, I'm just going to Concussive Blast over their team and use Barrage. Hopefully he lands a decent Earth Shatter as well, but I mean, you know, we can keep an eye out for that. However, we see an opportunity to slide in right beside them and just ult them. And, did Roadhog use his hook beforehand as well? His ult. I mean, his hook might as well be his ult, frankly. He probably did, since he was reloading. Either way, we slid in through the doorway when they weren't looking. I guess that's why we went under there, right? To try and, like, sneak up on the side. Fair enough. It's just at the same time, like, they really should have seen us, you know, but they didn't, so whatever. It works out. Now they're rushing out right here, and we're just having a great time shooting at them. Hanzo's using his ult, that's scary. We could have, you know, we elect to basically disengage by coming over this way to avoid the dragon, but we do have Concussive Blast right now, and we had our shift. So, fair enough, we elect to disengage, which is very unlikely to result in sadness, but if we're, right now, we've got the tempo advantage, so I really don't want to disengage the fight, because I know we're winning, and I want to keep winning the fight. And they've all just grouped up in this nice and tight, confined location over here, which is great for someone like Pharah with their splash weapon. Right, that's a bad color to use right now. This is better. Like, they've just come up nicely into this little crevice over here. What we could do instead is, you know, the dragon's kind of coming at us, like, dead on. We can just concussive blast over in this direction, like so, over there. And then we can shift up to the high ground platform just off screen over here. And then fire down into them, into this area, and, you know, someone's purple, they're all grouped up, and they would not even be able to see us, because the dragon would be in the way, plus all these other particle effects. You know, like, we disengage, which is fair enough, like, you know, you're unlikely to get punished for it, but we could have been more aggressive and kept the pressure on. Now, it turns out Soldier is up there as well, but we could have fought the Soldier as well, probably. His team would be unable to help him. We do push him off of the high ground, which is great if you can do it. Pushed him out of Biotic Field as well. Tragically, 2 of our teammates have died, so we're going to be having some trouble keeping this fight going. We could have tried to be more aggressive during that team fight, basically, especially since they grouped up so nice and tight. We do know in hindsight Soldier had gotten up onto the high ground, which would have made things slightly more complicated, but if you're right on top of Soldier, bang, bang, dead. Easy money. So, there Reinhardt killed himself, which is great. We concussive blast over here, get both of their supports, and then Soldier with it as well. Let's just go back and look at that one more time, because it was really sick, actually. Like, ooh, concussive blast, bam, That's the thing I love seeing about Pharah play, is when they just concussive blast over right into position and use barrage. It's just like, it looks so fluid, and it just looks so fluid and beautiful when it actually goes well. When you watch the dude just like jump up and then concussive blast over into just the right position to kill their entire team, feels so good. I'd rather watch that than like any Genji Dragonblade play of the game, basically, because dash cut, dash cut, dash cut. It's not that exciting to me. But you watch, like, the Pharah do that, there's, like, math involved in it, you know? It's sick. It's sick. So, now, rare day, both teams have more than 2 minutes left on the second round, or the third round on Eichenwald, so isn't that a rare day right there? So, we're gonna be here for a while, still. You know, rare Eichenwald day. It's quite rare for one team to get it all the way to the end of the track, let alone both teams. So we saw Sombra in there again. They've had Sombra this entire game, so it's not exactly surprising they still have Sombra. So, you know, we're concerned about that as Roadhog. She was over there. Where'd she go with that translocator? She went back, I think. This is important. Yeah. No. Did she go, like... Either way, McCree's on it. Whatever. So we killed their Roadhog right there. Cool. Hooked Orisa in. She's fucking dead. Nice. Easy. Sombra's up there. Okay. Widow's dead. You know. They're fucked. Could have tried to hook Mercy right there. Hook came off cooldown right as she's going across. Again, it'd be hard to hook her, but they're resetting right now. So missing a hook right now doesn't matter. So you're more free to try for something like that. And if we did hook Mercy, she would have been staggered, which is great, especially when they have such little time left anyway. Any time you can buy your team at all at this point is great, you know. Yeah, low chance of hooking her, would have been hard, but they were resetting, so it's hard to get punished for it during that period either. So our Reinhardt's trying to kill himself right now. Hook there's Sombra, she's fucking dead. That's great. Sombra's not building up any ult charge while she's dead, because, like, Imp is the way they're probably going to capture this point, if they do. We've just took a breather at full health, I believe? Or very close to, at least. Full health. Full health took a breather right there. Very bad efficiency. Very bad efficiency. Roadhog is a hero that is, like, entirely defined by his cooldowns, so... You really don't want to get, like, no value out of the cooldowns, you know? They're the hero. That's really odd. Do you see the hook just, like, disappear out of existence right there? We got hacked while we were doing it, so the hook just, like, disappeared, but we still did the motion and everything. So Sombra built up the Emp, and now they got a couple picks. We're getting way greedy with that fight, basically. We started pushing out of the choke point, which is not a recommended maneuver in general. And so we've ended up throwing away that choke point. We got, like, really greedy. Basically, not just us, the whole team got greedy. We collectively, as a unit, got mad greedy right there. So, we've almost got whole hog built up. That's cool, because if nothing else, we always have the chance of just pushing them all off of the payload in overtime with Whole Hog. And they used ultimates, right? We got 5 ultimates right now, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue to push them off. We just gotta wait for them to get into a decent position. Basically, right now, the way we throw from this position is we get too antsy, and we, like, jump on them before the optimal time. Basically, like, this is the thing, when they're overtime pushing the payload, teams always get, like, too eager to try and push them off, and they end up engaging too soon and throwing. Usually, you want to still just engage at the time you normally would on the track, right? Like, we don't go up and push, like, on this particular map, right, or this particular checkpoint, we usually want to start a fight, like, right here, right? Because that's the first point where, it's a decent, like, you jump on them, you got time to regroup, and it's the first, like, decent position to actually engage on them from a defensive location, right? Because you're, like, hovering around the corner, they get close, jump on them, right? What people usually do, though, in overtime is they start just, like, trying to fight them, like, right fucking up here, right? Like, that's not a good idea to do that in general, and so it's still not a good idea to do it in overtime, either, because you're unlikely to win a fight from that position, because you have to, like, march all the way up to them, right? So that's how, like, people end up throwing in this position. They just get way too... You notice how this wolf just has a real clean cut right down it right there? That's how people always throw in these overtime payload sections. They get too eager to actually start a fight and jump in way early. So I'm not a big fan of what we're doing right now. It's a very high-risk maneuver right now because we're just, like, jumping right down on the enemy team. We do, however, have 5 ultimates, and they use some ultimates to take that checkpoint. And so, fair enough. We got hacked. Most of their team are dead at this point. Yeah, fuck Sombra and Roadhog, honestly. They're the only ones still here. Roadhog's gonna die. Alright, works out. I'm not a big fan of the maneuver just because it was so very high risk, but we did have 5 ultimates, to be fair, so if you got 5 ultimates and the enemy team don't have 5 ultimates, or like an ultimate that counters multiple ultimates, like Transcendence, it tends to be difficult for you to lose the fight. And they also used Transcendence in the last fight as well, didn't they? Used Emp and Transcendence, so it was going to be hard for them to stop our momentum, to be fair, at the same time. It was a very risky maneuver. So, we're back on Pharah for a little while now. We do play McCree and Reaper during this round, as you can see. This is why I didn't include McCree and Reaper in any part of the early stage, because, well, look at that. It's definitely not much time we spend on them. So, we've just been told they have a Doomfist, which is great news if you're playing Pharah, right? So, this is, like, really awkward, all of what we've been doing right now, just, like, hovering around back here and all this. Like, the thing with Pharah is that, like, you just want to start, like, aggressively poking from weird locations as soon as possible. Eichenwald's really easy to do this on, as well, because of the geometry. Like, the whole point of Pharah is that she's played relatively similarly to Genji, honestly, which is that you poke really aggressively, try to get picks if at all possible, but you just poke really aggressively to try and create picks and build up ult charge, and then as soon as you have barrage, you wait for the time to just, like, slink in and kill their whole team with it. So, with somewhere like Eichenwald, it's really easy because of the geometry, right? Because you want to poke from varying locations, so they're never quite sure where you're coming from. And they have to keep repositioning to avoid you. So, like, Eichenwald, you can, like, poke over the rooftops from over here, and then you can, like, come around the corner again. Like, so, it's hard because of the angle, but, like, way over there on the rooftop, you can jump over, so you can, like, poke your face over that, fire at them from, like, the side, you can come back again, and then, like, poke around the corner and shoot at them from there. You can, like, concussive blast over to the other side and start shooting over from this side. You can go over that rooftop and shoot down at them as well. You want to vary up where you're poking from them as much as possible, but the whole point is just to get in the sky and start poking as soon as possible. All this really fucking weird pathing we did ended up leading to this. Like, we just weren't playing Pharah during that segment, right? We just did a bunch of, like, weird movement, and then we cut across the choke point as a soft hero when we got picked for it, so that was all really bad. I don't think we have to change off of Pharah right now, because, like, the geometry on this map makes it really easy to play Pharah. I think we could have stayed on Pharah. It's just like we did such weird moving around, really. Or, like, we could have come up around this side if we really wanted to and started, like, poking over here, poke around the side, and then, like, concussive blast over there, and then do what we were saying, you know. We walked through the house, which is just, like, really weird to do, because It's really easy to die when you do that, basically, as we saw, because we died doing that. So, we're spending a lot of time doing nothing right now, right? We did nothing for the last, like, minute, which is really bad when you only have 2 minutes to get anywhere, right? And then we, like... Here's the thing as well, is that we don't have a lot of time, and this whole time we did this, we've been not interacting with the game, and we switched heroes twice, so we've not even been building up any ult charge. Like, we're starting at 0 ult charge after sacrificing an entire minute doing basically nothing. Like, and I don't think this switch is even that much better than what we were playing, right? Like, I think Pharah was still great, really, because, like, yeah, okay, they got, like, Ana and Soldier, I think, as well, but, like, Eichenwald is such a good Pharah map that it doesn't even really matter. Like, we wasted so much time during this early game. And, like, the first fight in any round is, like, the most impactful fight in the game. Because the first fight is usually what dictates the tempo for the entire rest of the game. Because if one team wins the first fight, like, decisively, that team is the one that usually builds the ult advantage first, and then they can continue to have that ult advantage for the rest of the game. The first fight is really important, and, like, as Reaper, it's, like, hard to get through this doorway. We have gotten through the doorway, so that's cool, but then we end up dying. Just flick Wraith form, because that clears the debuff off of you. And then we can get healed and continue fighting, right? Yeah, like, that purges the healing debuff off of you. And, like, don't switch again when you're so close to having ult. You don't have time to build up another ultimate. Oh, God. Like, we wasted so much time during this the early phase of this round that, like... It's really bad. It's really bad. We just spent so much time not interacting with the game and not building ult charge. Now we've, like, getting close to building our ult, but we've got 20 seconds left at this point. It's bad. It's not good. So and, like, it's hard to play Reaper on this checkpoint because it's hard to get in on this map, basically. So we're teleporting ahead to start touching it, which I suppose is fair enough. Yeah, we're gonna lose, is basically the moral here. As you can probably tell, the fight is, not going well. It doesn't stop going badly at any point during it. This is where we lose the game, tragically. We are switching to a new hero, a faster hero, which is good, because, you know, we have to try and make it there. We won't, but, you know, we did try. We're not going to get to see the play of the game, but let's see what weird recommendations we've got today, because sometimes we have some really weird ones. So we got some of my own in there, which is cool. You know, I'm not really that interested in the Spider-Man movie, though, like, Spider-Gwen Stacy looks sick, also. That actually work, I don't even know who that is. My own videos again. Part 1 of 4. And it's 25 minutes long. I've never watched a Fortnite video in my life. I used to watch Game Theory back when it was good. Haven't done that. The Truth About Reaper. Overwatch Dark Secrets, you should know. I don't play Pokemon. And I couldn't care less about Anthem. So, it's not a good day for the recommendations today. What is this? Feats. Ah, I see. I was like, what the fuck of course, feats. So in general, like, we actually played pretty well. Like, there was some things in there that were nice to see a player doing. Like, the take a breather, like, right early on was actually, like, not that impressive to look at, but I was impressed by the optimization. And then, like, the concussive blast over barrage the enemy team was really sick as well. But that's, like, one of my favorite plays to watch in Overwatch, so I would think that. And, you know, like, in plat range, one would expect that there wouldn't be so many glaring issues. Generally, people know how to actually, like, operate their hero by that point. Tends to be, like, smaller optimizations at that point going forward, because at that point you've usually started to bang out the really big mistakes, and it tends to be more about just like refining than anything else at that point. And I can't really think of a recurring thing that kept coming up. But I also just have a bad memory, so you know. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.